It's the Two Strange Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Two Strange Men. Tom has challenged me not to do a weird introduction to this episode.
We've had a break.
Yeah.
Not for you guys, but we have had a break. We've been gone a couple of months.
Yeah. And you just want to do like a normal introduction.
Like the episode where I said, I just want one for my mum. Right?
Yeah.
That wasn't that. This is this.
Okay.
This is for you, Mum. I was going to say her full name. She'd absolutely kick the crap out of me. This is for you, Mum.
All right. Okay. I'll do a proper introduction. Okay.
Go on. Yeah, I'm ready.
Welcome to another episode of Two Strange Men. Episode where two strange men talk about strange things. Two strange things.
I hate you so much. Every fibre of my being. And this, folks, is why he locks the door. So if
I haven't done it today. I'm going to leave it open. You can run out if you want.
We are. I was going to say termless. We are studentless.
Yes. Okay.
In our base, aren't we? So
Yeah.
we don't need to lock the door.
In Cloud City, where we live. Okay, so today, what are we going to be talking about, Tom?
We're going to be talking about psychopomps.
Yes.
There was a literal 1 second pause there because my brain literally went to mush. I was like, oh yeah, what are we doing? We're talking about psychopomps today.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think everyone will be aware of, but not a lot of people will know the name of.
Yeah,
which
that's
I think
it.
is interesting, right?
Yeah, so we're saying psychopomps, and we'll say psychopomps an awful lot, but the actual plural, which we're given the title of this episode to, is psychopompoi.
Pompois. Pompoi boys.
Psychopompoi. I love that. I love all of this nomenclature that's kind of like in the old sort of narrative, narratology slash culturology or sociology, all of that sort of shit.
This is actually what we've been doing over the couple of months. We've been improving our lexicon so that we sound smarter for you all. We've nose in dictionaries. That's all we've been doing for months. We've not seen our children in weeks.
Yeah. If you say lexicon to me, I just think, is that a transformer that transforms into a dictionary? Because that's what it sounds like.
That would be cooler, wouldn't it?
It would.
Here he is, the great lexicon Autobot.
I can't fucking understand a word he says.
Yeah. So a psychopomp.
Yes.
It is what, Carl?
Okay, so it comes from ancient Greek, some psychopompos, meaning guide of souls. So it's beings or deities, spirits or animals tasked with escorting the recently deceased into the afterlife.
And like most of these things, there's going to be some that you're probably aware of as psychopomps, and then hopefully, as these episodes are designed to, you'll learn something as well about the popular ones and maybe stuff that you haven't seen before. Should we throw out some names? Should we tantalise people?
Well, we've actually got quite a lot. We've tried to home in on a few that people might be aware of. And might not, but there's a lot of others as well. Like, for example, one thing to take into account, as Tom mentioned off air a moment ago, was the idea that a psychopomp generally doesn't judge the dead.
Yeah.
It essentially just ferries them, guides them into the afterlife.
It's middle management.
Yeah, exactly. There's someone ferrying you up to heaven, and then the gatekeeper, or the judge, is like St. Peter or something like that, at the gates of heaven, isn't it? But that's not psychopomp. That's the judgment call. So, for example, in Egypt, you've got the judgment bringer, which is it Set or Sekhmet or something like that, isn't it?
Well,
off the top of my head, I can't remember. But, you've got the Anubis, the jackal-headed deity, guiding the souls towards the afterlife. Yeah.
I thought Anubis did weigh them.
Yeah.
I thought he had scales,
but
and he weighed them.
Maybe we're considering the idea that the scales are the judgment. And so it's taken out of the hands of any sort of
Anubis is like, what can I do, mate?
Yeah. I mean, this judgment thing is all a bit subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair. It's like, when you get to heaven, is it going to be like St. Peter there with a big book, and he's listed every single time that you've touched yourself?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully not. for some people, that'll be a rather large.
That's a bloody big book.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at it as a medical fact, right? I learned recently.
Yes.
I learned recently that to have a healthy to have a healthy kind of like body and to fight off prostate cancer and prostate illnesses, how often do you think you need to I'm just going to say the dirty word, like ejaculate?
Ejaculate. I think it would be probably healthy to be doing that at least 5 times a day.
That's not in the recommendation.
Oh.
Every 4 days.
Every 4 days.
To clear that off is a healthy amount.
Okay.
So if you are just going by the medical advice, your book's going to be quite big, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're going by your advice, you've got tomes.
But also, if you're going to St. Peter and he's saying, "Oh, you've touched yourself an awful lot," and you go, "Well, scientific studies have actually confirmed, Mr. Peter." Okay.
He's like, "You arrogant shit," boop, and then you just fall down to hell.
Yeah, it's all subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think no matter how many times you touch yourself,
you're still going to hell.
No, I was going to say you're still going to heaven.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
I mean, if all those priests are getting in, I don't know. Like, if all those priests are getting in.
Yeah. Well. I'm pulling on my collar. You can't see.
Pull on our collars. That's right. Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because actually, one of the most famous psychopomps is Karen, the ferryman.
Yeah.
And actually, in most depictions, he doesn't speak, or they don't speak. I don't know their gender. They don't speak. You get on, and they just take you to the journey. They're not judging you. They don't really have a role apart from taking you where you need to go, which is the next part of your journey.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the definition, right? They're not a judging creature. They are just a guide to the next stage.
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect personification of a psychopomp.
I think what's interesting is this idea of personification as well with these stories, because at least a few of them. So say, for example, Greek mythology, and obviously the Etruscan elements of it and the Roman elements and things like that. There's so much like content about these characters that it's got its own canon. It's like canonical like elements to it and stuff like that. And so like Karen, as you mentioned, has not only personified certain like rituals and elements of life, but also they've got a personality by this point in time that we can clearly identify as well, like sort of like a belligerent sort of like character who is what's the word, like not taking you across if you don't have the coins, for example. Nice simple element to it, but like it's like that arbitrary no judgmental element of a psychopomp for that. But then again, you know, you've got others which would be very different, I guess, to that approach as well. Yeah. So anyway, let's go through a few of these. So we're going to be looking at, we mentioned Egypt. We're not necessarily going to be mentioning Egypt, but we're going to be looking at Greece. We're going to be looking at Hermes and Charon. We are also going to be looking at the Aztec or Mesoamerica America god Xolotl. And then we're going to be looking at the Etruscan psychopomp of Vanth and the Slavic psychopomp of Marana. It's interesting. It's nice for me to do these sort of episodes. I've learnt what the Etruscan sort of like, you know, nation was before it became Rome and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
It was quite interesting to know about that sort of stuff. So yeah, we're also going to be looking at like Eastern, like non-Western traditions as well. Any ones in particular that you want to shout out?
Let me just consult my notes that I definitely put together myself. So, well, we have the Jewish tradition. So we have Samael.
Yep.
One that I think a lot of people will relate to, especially if they're little weebs like me, Shinigamis.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of Japan and kind of like Chinese culture recently, but it's just because there's so much of it.
Yeah. Well, it's a big place, isn't it?
And see, you know how I'm good with my like naming conventions as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give the Chinese folk religion version of a psychopomp a go. Are you ready?
Yeah, okay. You got to put on the accent. It helps.
Hai Ba Wu Chang.
Hey, boo, shung.
Okay. That did sound better, actually, to be fair. I can't be mad at that.
That was a bit too much.
So we're kind of going to go all around the world with this. And you're probably thinking, wait, guys, you're missing one. You're missing a Western one.
Yeah.
Why is that, Carl? Who are we missing?
We're not missing anyone, mate. We're also going to get the grim motherfucking Reaper in the house
the
as
big
well.
boy.
Yes, it.
The LeBron James of our Psychopomp basketball club.
We're going to talk about him for a little while. Here's a few that we're going to be missing out, though. So there are other Abrahamic figures. So we've got Samael in Jewish tradition, but there's also, the Archangel Michael. St. Peter is one. Even Christ has been viewed as a psychopomp figure. Azrael in Islam. The idea of like shamans in many cultures and things like that act as that psychopomp, but actually in reality, which is interesting. I think we'll leave that though for a whole episode that we can dedicate to like shamanic practice and stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, because you could argue a lot of the Egyptian practices of sending off the dead, what the priests did, is that early journey of a psychopomp. So I think it's good to have that as its own element, because there's a lot there.
Of course. We've also got the Norse Valkyries, and then other such things, because it's so prevalent, this idea, and it's kind of like needed as well. I kind of want to talk about that as well. Is just you need some sort of belief system, I guess, to like navigate the fear of death.
Yeah.
I guess these days we pump people absolutely full of morphine at the end, and that sort of thing, so they're kind of delirious as they go out. Ain't no such thing as morphine in the 14th century or whatever, or earlier, 8th century BC. Nobody
likes an end, right? And that's the ultimate end.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have a belief system of what you're moving on to, you just think that's it. I think we've talked about this before on the show, though, that I'm a little bit of an outlier with that, and I'm good. Like but for most people, they need that tangible thing of like, is somebody going to help me transition to the next stage of life?
Yeah, definitely. I worry that on my deathbed, I'll be like clutching at my grandchildren saying, "Save me! I don't want to go."
What was that? And I might have to like fact check this for the next episode, but there was quite a famous atheist who on his deathbed kind of was saying like, "Oh God, forgive me."
Yeah.
I can't remember who and it might not even be true, right? But I can't remember who.
And all of the priests, the Pope included, they all came in at that point in time like, "Dickhead, loser,
you absolute tosser,
wanker."
They just went, "Told you so."
Yeah, absolutely. Pope, he's on his deathbed. Oh, charter me a jet, I'm getting there straight away.
I knew you were going to do that. Because you have a tell, right? When you get an idea, you have a tell. And I'm sitting directly in front of you, and I can see it in your eyes, and I'm like, we're about to lose about 3 minutes of good content to whatever Cal's just lost.
There you go. Call in. Let us know if you believe in God.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're on all of the social media platforms. We'll be happy to hear from you. Ricky Gervais, if you're listening, we understand how you feel. You don't have to.
You
don't have to let us know.
Some of your like stand up here if you want. We've got a spare mic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like take the piss out of the Bible. It's fine. It's low hanging fruit though, isn't it? A bit. Don't you think? A bit.
It's been done.
Been done. Yeah.
So really, are you now trying to like copy his little voices as well?
No, I'm my own person.
Try and get on the Ricky Gervais radio show hype train.
Well,
that left like 15 years ago.
Yeah, actually, let's bring that into our first Psychopomp It's actually the
Carl
character.
Pilkington. Just
No, the character Derek I was going to go with, but Carl Pilkington would work.
Yeah, go on.
If anything, I would kind of like Carl Pilkington to
It's a bit
ferry
of a
me
realist,
to the
isn't he?
dead, isn't it? Yeah, he would play. It would be a really good Karen.
It's a bit shit, but you'll get there.
Yeah.
We got digestive biscuits.
I can't let you on unless you've got the coins. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, so would you like to start? You wanted to talk about Hermes. You're into Hermes, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not into him. I feel like that's a bit of a miss. But I like the Greek religion.
Yes.
Mythos, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's not a religion anymore. It's a mythos. It's gone into that realm of mythology now because there's no practicing.
Yeah.
Greekites.
I think the Grecian stories and stuff like that, I think they form the basis of the majority of culture in Western society. I do definitely think that. Like, it's a what's the word? It's a point of beginning, and it all just sort of spreads out from there. I kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
It's really interesting, and as we know with Greek mythology, many of the key players have very varied roles.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of the gods or demigods, they're not just one singular thing, and that's the same with Hermes. He's quite often seen as the messenger of the gods.
Yeah.
But in a lot of stories,
like Dionysus, he's like the god of the harvest and getting pissed.
Yeah. Which, if you're harvesting corn all day, you'd want to get pissed. I get it.
Yeah.
So he's a messenger, but he's also seen as a little bit of a trickster as well. And he's in almost all stories of Greek heroes, right? Famously in the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Is the great grandfather of Odysseus himself.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit like all the other gods. He's fathered a lot of the Greek heroes.
Yeah.
And he just gets about. And he's mainly seen as the messenger. But that kind of goes into his other role where he's a boundary crosser. He can go between realms, and because he can go between realms, obviously that also means that he's able to guide souls. And I do believe in Odyssey, it's been a while since I've read the Homer poem or anything, but he does guide them right to the Netherworld in that story. I'm sure he is the one that guides them to the underworld halfway through the Odyssey.
Yeah, he leads the souls to the slain suitors away with his golden wand.
Yes. So his epitaph is Psychopompos, the guide of souls. So while we see him as, little wings on his thing, fetching, Hermes is also in real life is a company that takes
absolutely.
stuff. So
think about all of the little jobs that he has, because he's. You think of like the idea of hermeneutics and hermeneutic practice and things like that. Is that idea of like godly ideas being communicated to humans and that sort of like trail of thought and stuff like that. There's a communication, and he's the messenger of the gods, but he's also got this role of basically the dead delivery man.
That's
as
where
well.
it gets interesting, because I think that kind of communicator of the gods was one of his roles, but came later. A lot of the early art, you actually see him depicted with the newly dead.
Yeah.
Mediating the underworld scenes. I mean, we know from this podcast that nobody stays in the underworld for too long.
Yeah. There's a way to get out of there.
Yeah. But Hermes is, guiding people in and guiding people back. He's often depicted with his traveller's hat and the winged sandals, which he's famous for. Sometimes he's physically standing near Karen's boat. Like you can see him in some art, like, come on guys, here's your next leg of your journey, sort of thing. So they're sort of interchangeable. Hermes' presence reassures the transition. So Hermes isn't always seen as a good guy, because he's a trickster, but it is a reassuring element.
Yeah, in this element of his story, he's compared to Karen, who's like that finite moment of you crossing, he's taking you there and he's reassuring you that everything's going to be okay, etc. through that process. So he's often depicted as one's almost like a beacon of light compared to someone who's like shadowy and dark and stuff like that in this Karen character.
I mean, the main thing about Hermes, as we said before, is he can seamlessly travel between realms, and that is his purpose. His purpose is to be that kind of messenger and to be that guide for all, because he is interchangeable in like where he can go and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What spells would Hermes have to do this if this was D&D?
Well, I think he would have teleportation.
Teleportation, but isn't there?
I think he would have transmutation as well. He'd be able to change things.
But there's that one where you can move from one plane of existence to another. I can't remember what that's called.
Oh, I can't. You're out nerding me right now.
Yeah, okay, fine. I thought you were more of a nerd for this shit than I was.
But
okay.
I don't remember every bloody spell.
It's probably got some sort of name like Mistral Step or something like that.
I think that's what it is.
Something Step. Yeah. I know it's something Step.
I play monks. I just like punching shit.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Like key. I basically like to be. I play as a Dragonborn, so I can be Dragon Ball.
Yeah, fair enough. Makes sense. Goku. Yeah. No, Tom, you've had 3 characters called Goku. Yeah, he's just resurrected. It's Goku again.
Yeah, it's his brother, Gokai.
You're just completely co-opting the Dungeon Master's game because it turns into now we've got to find the Dragon Balls again.
Now you sound like the DM.
Yeah. Okay then. So yeah, Karen as well. So you've got Hermes there, and then you've got Karen. So Karen is generally, through later depictions of him, is shown to be, as I mentioned earlier, that rough, taciturn ferryman. So essentially, someone who is it's kind of like gruff, not really wanting. What's the word? Not really wanting to go through that process of reassuring and stuff like that. He's got an arbitrary job to do. He's going to get you from one place to another. And I think he's then really effectively portrayed as that through like modern fiction retellings of him, essentially. But yeah, he's the first official that you meet after death. And what is interesting is that in quite a lot of these different mythos, you've got this idea of there being a full arbitration, a full sort of like judgment and things like that going on. And then there are different officials and things like that within it. But he's the first one. He's demanding his fare before he'll pole the skiff across, essentially. Yeah. So the coin for passage custom, where you put 2 coins on the eyes for the ferryman, that is called placing an obol with the body. And that's a social ritual that I guess transcends beyond like Grecian. We see that an awful lot in other such things. I think they even did it in fucking Game of Thrones or something.
Yeah,
didn't they?
Leaving items for the dead to carry on.
Of course,
is a very popular.
2 coins though, in particular, over the eyes are very iconic, aren't they? So it's a ritual that's built on myth. Not so much the literal toll as an embodied acknowledgement that death is a journey with gatekeepers, rules, and costs, etc. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's nice that it's 2 coins, right? One for the fee, one for the tip for my main man, Karen. I think that's nice.
Yeah, that's good. You need a little bit extra, don't you? Yeah. So yeah, he transports, he doesn't judge, and in that mythos, it's actually Hades and Persephone that will be doing the judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's, as we mentioned, he's often paired with Hermes, and Hermes is there to usher the souls to the quayside, and then Sharon is ferrying them across.
I absolutely love that even in like ancient Greece, there was someone who's just like, I'm just doing my job, stop bothering me. Like,
totally.
Even in ancient civilization, there's just someone like, this is what I do, all right? Just come on, get on board.
It's because you like write what you know, isn't it? Yeah. And I think a lot of that sort of personality comes forward in Roman literature rather than Greek literature. So like I said, that they've developed that personality over time. So in Virgil's Aeneid, actually the 5th Aeneid, Aeneas witnesses the teeming crowds at the bank and the ferryman's disdain for the unburied and the way proper rites and tokens secure passage. So it's all explained there.
Yeah.
So you'll then get all of this stuff about Sharon or Karen being sort of like a logistical administrator coming through in that, and that character coming forward.
For those that are not clued up on mythos, it's not Karen with a K. It's not some like burly woman with like a short haircut and crazy coloured hair.
Yeah.
It's Karen with a CH. So get that image out of your head.
That's it. He's not going to ask to speak to your manager.
Yeah, he is the manager. Well, I guess it's middle management, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a blue collar worker. He just wants to get
his manager's got to be pretty scary. That's Hades.
Well, his manager would be Hermes, right?
Hades.
No, it'd be Hermes.
No, it'd be Hades.
Because he's a messenger, and then Hades would be Hermes' manager.
What? No.
Yeah,
they're all Hades and Hermes and okay. So this is the thing. Okay, so they're both different. What do you call it? What do you call it when you've got a company that's separated into different departments?
Oh yeah.
Different departments. Okay, so Hermes works in the Olympus department, whereas Karen works at the Underworld department.
I want to see the Olympus flowchart. I want to know what the department heads are, who's under them.
Yeah, of course. Zeus at the top.
Yeah.
And
he's as well liked as most people at the top.
But Zeus has done that thing where he's employed as his like CEO, Hera is right. Hera, his wife.
His family, yeah.
Yeah, who's always like catching him out shagging.
Bloody nepotism at its worst, to be honest.
Yeah, everyone's shagging everyone and creating people that are then working within the Olympus.
Sounds like
department.
most American companies, doesn't it?
Sounds like most companies, Tom. Most companies, let's face it. Anyway, so let's move on. So there is also the Etruscan psychopomp, Vanth. Now, I just wanted to mention what the Etruscan civilization is, because I've heard the word Etruscan. It's like, it's a Etruscan vase from the 8th century and all that stuff.
I have no idea what it is. So
yeah, exactly.
This is all new information to me.
So essentially, the Etruscan people were in central Italy, okay? Around 90 BC, they were granted Roman citizenship, and so you basically had the Romans and the Etruscans, and you had a Roman-Etruscan war at some point in time, and I guess it was the first major sort of conquest of the Roman people to secure a vaster empire, because they're taking over the majority of Italy by bringing the Etruscans in. And so a lot of what you end up getting as sort of Roman mythology comes from that Greek, but also that Etruscan influence. You know, obviously a massive Greek influence where they pretty much just changed the names. But if you look at the Etruscan ideas and stuff like that and mythos, they pretty much had very similar gods that had similar functions and stuff like that. So you essentially have like a female version of Hermes called Vanth. But it wasn't someone who had so many jobs. It was just simply someone who isn't really named or rarely named. There's only a handful of inscriptions that mention Vanth within them. But essentially, she is a part of their funerary culture, and yeah, she can be found throughout funerary art. She's got wings like an angel. Okay, Hermes got the little wings. Yeah, obviously angels have the big wings, and she's got wings like an angel. But obviously, you know,
medium-sized wings.
I guess, I mean, like, they're Etruscans. They don't have like a Christianity or anything like that. But the idea of Christianity and these ideas of angels no doubt came from, these Etruscan ideas and stuff like
how
that.
do you ascend, right? Through wings. It makes sense as iconography, right?
Yeah,
even outside
absolutely.
of like the Christian faith.
Yeah.
Something ascending up having wings makes sense.
So yeah, there's this character who does that. Vanth is usually a reassuring or neutral character. Her presence marks the moment of death or the beginning of the journey rather than the punishment. And she carries tools of passage, a torch to light the way, a key to open gates, and sometimes a scroll interpreted as a fate record or itinerary.
Okay.
So bear with me 1 second. Tom is just going to do a little bit of elevator music while I switch on a switch, otherwise my battery's going to die. And we're back. So anyway, what's interesting with this whole idea of like Etruscan beliefs compared to the Greek equivalents and things like that is that there are other characters that come within this. So, for example, there is a kind of like a judgement character, or at least within the peripheries of the underworld, a guy called Charon.
Interesting.
It's only spelt slightly different. Instead of O-N at the end of Charon, you've got
UN.
UN, yeah. So it's an Etruscan underworld figure who's obviously distinct from that Greek one.
That's some lazy copying, though, isn't it?
It is. It's pretty lazy, isn't it?
You copied my essay, but you can't use the same words. Oh,
but I kind of feel like these characters like were created at a similar sort of time.
Yeah.
You know, the Greeks obviously predate all of the Roman stuff, and so the Greek stuff and the Etruscan stuff is kind of coming out at the same sort of time. Yeah, it's like Golden Age comics, Marvel, DC.
Nice. I appreciate that reference.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, I'll just I'll quickly detract so that I can talk about this Charon guy. So essentially, he was a guard to the entry of the underworld, and so he was actually quite scary. He almost reminds me of like what you would depict as like a Hindu god. So he's depicted as with a hammer. And with pointy ears, snakes around his arms, and a bluish coloration, much like Shiva or something like that. But that bluish coloration is symbolizing the decay of death. And in some images, he has enormous wings. He's also depicted as a large creature with snake-like hair, a vulture's hook nose, large tusk like a boar, heavy brow ridges, large lips, fiery eyes. Every single like scary stereotype sort of like image that you could create.
Yeah, that's that bloke.
Put it all in. And a lot of that is down to the idea of when he's depicted in art, he's often used as a grotesque. Yeah. So there is actually like a type of art called apotropaic. Okay, which is very similar to like, you know, those green men or gargoyle images that you find in churches and stuff like that, where you just try to create something grotesque as a way to scare away evil spirits and other such things like that. So yeah, you've just got this other character, and they're often depicted together, this Charon and this Vanth character. And Vanth obviously is the light. She's the Hermes to the Charon.
I bet Vanth is hot as well. Like, they always do that, don't they? I bet Vanth is hot.
Yeah. I mean, like if it's a god, right? Aren't they all hot? Like,
yeah,
because they're gods, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the point, right? They can make their own image most of the time. So,
yeah.
You know, if the flavour of the month is to be, you know, big-breasted and no bums, that's what they are.
Absolutely.
If it's big bums, wide hips, and no boobs, that's what they are.
Absolutely. They're probably at the moment going through a body positivity campaign.
Yeah.
They're all quite plump at this point in time.
I love that.
Yeah. So, you know, because they can change shit, can't they? Yeah. Or put things on, because they live forever as well. You can get like really bloated and then get really skinny.
What if most of our celebrities are just gods that keep changing their like faces and stuff? I know, and that's why we're not like super rich and successful, because they're all gods.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you're close. all of the celebrities are pan-dimensional reptile aliens that worship Beelzebub.
We did mention that a couple of episodes ago. So,
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. So the reason why we're not famous is not through talent, not through nepotism or things like that. It's just,
odds against us.
Yeah, odds against us. We're not a race of aliens that sole purpose is to harvest all of the gold in the earth before fucking off at the apocalypse.
Well, you're not.
Oh.
Yeah. End of podcast.
Okay. So yeah, Vanth, a little Etruscan hottie.
We started off really, and then just she's got it. She's a 10.
I mean, there's not really too much to talk about. They're just like love to depict this idea of a an armor-clad angelic woman who helps you over.
I like that this one is a female because a lot of these are either male or androgynous. So I like that we've got a girl repping.
Absolutely. Although, talking about male and androgynous, if David Bowie turns out to be my psychopomp, I wouldn't be too...
That'd be cool.
That'd be good. Yeah. That'd be good.
I'd be up for David Bowie.
Hello, Carl. It turns out you're dead. Oh, dear.
Now I want to die.
Anyway, so do you want to talk about one? You can pick any one you want.
I'd love to talk about one.
Go on,
Shall we pair that with the Shinigami?
The Shinigami.
Shinigami.
Okay.
Let's go back to Japan.
Let's go back to Japan.
We've spent quite a lot of time in Japan. We're going to go back to the Shinto religion.
Yes.
Because as we've established in previous episodes, it's been hugely... kind of inspirational in Japanese art, in Japanese anime, and I think in modern day, Japanese anime and manga has kind of crossed over to the Western world quite a big way, really. Yeah. I would say that sort of anime was my first kind of exposure to, non-Hollywood. Or non-BBC type things.
And then really, that's a gateway from anime. You get all the weird Japanese films that are just delicious at times.
And like Korean films, and then you go to the rest of the world cinema and Indian films, and you realise that there's a much wider range of interesting stuff out there. And I feel like for me, Shinigami featured heavily within kind of anime and manga, so he's a big part of their culture. So Shinigami translates roughly to death god, as literal as that. They occupy what is sometimes referred to as a slippery space. So they're
well,
kind
that's
of
me as well. I do
that. They're dimensional beings. Slippery boys.
Yeah.
It kind of came about at the Edo period through storytelling, and the modern pop culture has really kind of put them to the front. I would maybe say outside of our interpretation of Death, the Grim Reaper, Shinigamis are maybe the most used in popular culture. I think you could argue Karen as well, but they all occupy that same space, being really influential.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult because it's like the term yokai. Yeah, I mean, you've got one anime that's or one franchise called Yokai Watch, right? And that uses the term.
I love Yokai Watch.
Uses the term yokai, and then you've got Shinigami Tensei. Which is obviously a massively popular game thing and stuff like that. But then other than that, all the other inclusions and things like that of these things within culture, that you're not necessarily referring to it as a Shinigami unless it's a bit of an exposition.
Like the anime Bleach, for example. They're all Shinigamis, and I guess they're it starts off they're guiding souls to the what they call the Soul Society, but then they just fight monsters, and then they just fight each other for 200 episodes. So it goes off in places, doesn't it? So in classic Shinto and early Japanese myth, there is no kind of set pantheon like Greece. We have a very
there's
easy,
no Mount Olympus.
There's no hierarchical chart. It's just these are death gods.
Yeah.
and they're pretty interchangeable, right? I mean, we see the Western Grim Reaper. That is the boss. He is, and quite often we see that as a single entity. I mean, there's plenty of like TV shows and stuff that's like oh no, I am a Grim Reaper, but in sort of like consensus, it's like a single, right?
Yeah.
Whereas there's none of that. It's all just, it's a term for death gods. Death is mediated through Kigari, which is ritual impurity, ancestral rites, and figures like Yama, which is almost like,
it's a Buddhist element, isn't it? Yeah.
Transmission. Or, as you said, local yokai, local spirits will help facilitate this. So the term Shinigami surfaces in the Edo period literature. I can't remember the exact dates, but I'm happy to fact check next week. Can't remember the Edo period like dates. Can you?
Yeah. Look, I mean, I couldn't give a fuck.
Irrelevant. You want to teach people something? How dare you? And performances and plays and songs all kind of dance around, quite literally dance around the idea of shinigamis. Sometimes a shinigami can possess. Rather than just being a guide, it can be possessive in nature. They can be death-urging spirits, so kind of like the Grim Reaper. They're watching you. They can kind of, if they think it's your time, maybe they can speed that process up.
Yep.
Rather than the kind of like administrative like psychopomps we've seen, where it's just kind of like, papers please. They're kind of they're less passport security and more, and they've got a much more leading role. Before modern media standardized them as cloaked reaper beings or clever brokers of death baggins, they were more, it was more about kind of like spirits, and they came in many forms, basically. Yeah. In folklore and later urban legends, shinigamis appear as whisperers who lure and invite death. As well as guide souls. So I think a big purposes, right?
I think a big cultural element would have been Death Note.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't really feel like, I mean, they probably touched on them a lot later, but it was really cool to see those points in time when the Shinigami that was with the main character went off into the other world where all of the other Shinigami exist in.
Yeah.
Yeah. A really, really cool sort of like concepts.
And also, a different point where he was just like, light, slow down, mate. Like, even he was like, whoa, like, this is going to be a lot of work. So, and it's fascinating, isn't it? Because culture and interpretation changes the way that we look at these beings quite a lot. But because of this, because they have that dual role of kind of whispering in people's ear, like maybe you want to kill yourself, or you're not feeling well, maybe it's your time, and then other times they're just simple guides. They're guiding you through. So their roles are pretty ambiguous.
Yeah.
In yokai taxonomies, they're often fully personified and individualized, playing the line between temptation, fate, and companionship. So they can come in the form, while they might have a form, they can become people you love.
Yeah.
They can kind of mold their personalities around you to give you comfort or to torture you or whatever their kind of specific flavor of the day is, I suppose. And that kind of maps well with Japan's very layered kind of religion, like Shinto, Buddhism. They all kind of interlap. We talked a lot about like Shinto practices, but then we would interchange that with Buddhist beliefs of transcendence,
so like
for example.
Ancestor veneration just as a cultural aspect of it, and then Buddhist memorial service on top, and ghost festivals and things like that. Yeah. It's all going to like come together and create this. It's a real unique sort of culture in that way. Like we have it ourselves though as well.
Yeah. We have a hodgepodge of beliefs.
Yeah, I mentioned the idea of like gargoyles and green men and things like that being put on like ancient churches and stuff like that. And that is a perfect example of how things kind of get just sort of all mashed up together.
Yeah.
The idea that we just have like a tree that we put all our presents around at Christmas, that's not a Christian element. That's like, pagan. People would also like consider that even like having similar like cultural elements in the Middle East as well. It all just comes together, and that's just society and culture now, isn't it? Like, and a lot of our religions and stuff like that we recognize now are just an amalgamation of everything that, like, as they're trying to build this religion up, they could not get rid of, so they bring it in.
And as you said, like, culture informs as well. I have a neighbour, as most of us do.
Yeah.
Have neighbours. Lovely family, and they are Muslims.
Yes.
So they practice Eid and everything else. And because they live here, they also practice. I was going to say the Christian holiday, the Christmas.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the culture, and it's kind of like, I wouldn't say pushed on them, but Christmas time is such a magical time for kids, right? They have kids, so they also celebrate Christmas. So they have this real hodgepodge of traditions based on, and I think that is just going to grow as time goes on, and accessibility, and we are really global. Like, yes, we are nations, but you can literally get across the world in half a day.
Yeah.
Like, everything is accessible. So this idea and information is shared. So I think we'll continue to see this kind of hodgepodge of traditions and mythologies merged together to create. Well, who knows what we'll be celebrating in 200 years, right?
Yeah.
Who knows what that will look like?
Yeah.
Futurama did a pretty good couple of guesses though on their Christmas specials.
Yeah. Reminders.
So it's where Santa is a robot who like punishes everybody, and has like a rocket launcher that fires out like a sack of burning coal.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay, we have just enough time to like squeeze in one more
Quickly.
That's what she said. So we're going to go with Dana or Den.
Oh, stop it.
So this is a Zoroastrian thought. Now, do you know anything about the Zoroastrians?
No, I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful, but it sounds made up.
It sounds made up, but it's the first one to make it up, okay? And I'll explain why.
Okay.
Because the Zoroastrian religion is quite fascinating, okay? So it came out of Persia.
Nice.
I guess it's like modern-day Iraq or Iran, one of those places.
Right.
Essentially, the people that Zoroastrianism was related to, etc., and it started with, that as a culture, they've been completely wiped out at this point in time. But what's funny is, I don't know how you find this funny, but it's interesting, is Freddie Mercury, his family and his family's lineage, you can actually find back at these original sort of like tribe of people.
Oh wow.
So that's pretty cool. But Zoroastrianism is the first recorded, like proper recorded, monotheistic religion.
Wow.
So they believed in a god called Zoroaster.
So monotheism, for anyone that's not sure, is essentially where there is one god and not a pantheon.
Yeah, so you've got pantheism and you've got monotheism. And yeah, so there's no department of the Mount Olympus and everything like that. There's just Zoroaster. Yeah, and that's all you need. It's quite interesting. Although, when it comes down to it, when you consider other Zoroastrian thoughts, you come to question the idea of it being a monotheistic religion. And although they're saying there's one true God, he tended to have some helpers. So there's this one character, and as we go into this, you'll kind of understand. It's like, okay, maybe because it's so long ago, we can't really work out like how this was made up, whether it was a pantheon or not, it kind of makes sense that it could be a monotheistic religion. So anyway, so Dana, who's often depicted as a maiden who meets the soul after death, is both a religion, a vision, and a conscience. Okay, so in Zoroastrian thought, it centers on the Chinvat bridge, where each soul encounters its own Dana embodied. Okay, so it's not necessarily a character; it's just everyone has their own Dana,
and it can become kind of like that idea of Shinigami. It can become your loved ones. It can become whatever you need it to be to guide you to the next stage.
Absolutely, yes, I did think about that when you mentioned that. Yeah, so it becomes your own. So you meet this person on the bridge, and then they become like a mirror to you. Okay, so for the righteous, she appears as a beautiful maiden who guides them safely across into the house of song, heaven. And for the wicked, she's terrifying, and the bridge narrows to a razor's edge, dropping them towards the house of lies. The house of song or the house of lies? Where are you going?
That's interesting, isn't it?
That's where David Bowie will take you.
To the House of Song.
To the House of Song, absolutely.
And then who could take you to the House of Lies? Like any politician.
Donald Trump!
Yeah.
Come to my house. It's a great house. Yeah, anyway, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. So your life is essentially made visible in front of you, and you're able to see that. They kind of did this in a random episode of Red Dwarf. They kind of had this sort of character where they had this sort of like cyborg character who had developed a time machine, and because he couldn't die, he basically became like the arbiter of death. But he also had shape-shifting abilities. So when you saw the episode, all of the characters and stuff when they are being judged, they're being judged by themselves. So it's a very similar sort of thing there. So with this, there's no coins or anything like that. There's no actual bribing. You can't do anything like that because it's you who becomes the one to lead you on. It's you that judges you, essentially. Yeah.
So Dana is the path.
Yeah. And through Zoroastrianism, it reinforces this idea. It's a moral cosmos where truth and lie structure reality, and where ritual and ethics jointly form the path that you must take. Yeah, and the Dana is that path embodied, welcoming or warning at the bridge.
So I guess you can keep it as a monotheistic religion, because Dana is almost like a mechanism.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a mechanism of God rather than a God in itself.
I guess, yeah. But I mean, it's still depicted as a maiden. So it's like, but it all comes down to scholarly interpretation.
It's whatever, like this mechanism is whatever you want it to be, right? So maybe they were just randy. And they were seeing maidens because they were randy guys.
I just really like drawing tits, boss. All right, fine. Carry on.
Well, I saw it as a snake myself, but it's fine. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to carry this on next week. We're going to be looking at some other Psychopompoi.
Yeah.
So which other ones are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at the Slavic god Morana. We're going to be looking at the Chinese black and white impermanence.
I've got it. Heiba Wuchang.
Yeah, the Heiba Wuchang. And we're going to be looking at the Aurora Borealis, which will be interesting.
And I think we will look back. We mentioned him very briefly, Samael. I think it's interesting to have a look at that too.
And hopefully, if we can squeeze him in, we might end up doing this as a three-parter as well. Xolotl and the Grim Reaper himself.
Nice. What an absolute lineup.
Yeah.
I just imagine him as like a Looney Tunes type.
Space Jam.
But yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. But they're the monsters, that they have to go up against.
Well, I mean, like, perhaps like the judges versus the guides.
The Pompeyes.
The Pompei and the I don't know what you call a judgment people.
Judgy fucks. That's what I call Judgy fucks.
Yeah. St. Peter's boys.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
The St. Peter boys.
The Don't Touch Yourself brigade. Yeah.
unless you're a little boy.
What?
Well, because like priests.
Oh,
you
yes.
made that joke about priests.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
The St. Peter boys, they're definitely like doing a bit crazy.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
good. I've just thought you were outing yourself there.
No, definitely not.
It was very awkward for a moment there. Woo!
We locked eyes. We're like, what's happening here?
That's it. Bombshell. Okay. And with that bombshell, enjoy life.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Here's a disclaimer. We are not experts. We can easily get things wrong in an episode. Our intention is to explore and open up the possibilities for further exploration. Come find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. We would love some interaction. Also, if you can consider supporting us on Patreon, that would help a bunch. Search for 2, that's number 2, Strange Men Pod, all one word. Until next time, keep it strange.